Hey, hello guys, or should I say fellow gays and theys. It so happens to be Pride Month, probably the last day of it by the time I've uploaded this, because I'm only doing the audio recording on the second last day of June, because I have been very busy and also very procrastinating this month. Wanted to do a subtle pride series. I chose to use skulls as the centerpieces because I really like bones. There's really not much more of a reason to that. No dark nasty stuff. I'm literally just like, bones have fun shapes, I like bones, let's try drawing different types of animal skulls. Got a few different ones, most of them with no particular reason, the singular exception being the lesbian skull, which is a cat, because I was like, pussy. Very mature of me, I know. But yeah, Pride Skulls, subtle pride art. We're celebrating Pride Month, because it is the time of the gays, and I so happen to be a fellow gay, so I was like, why not? I did take way too long to get through these because my iPad battery is not doing so well at the moment, so I need to go take it in to get looked at. But also, I hate booking appointments, so I have not done that yet. Rip to me, I guess, and my productivity. We'll get there eventually. I just need to actually force myself to do something about it. But yeah, Pride Month. For this video, you'll notice the editing is a bit dodge in the way that there is none. Tried to move things around. The program started doing weird stuff. I freaked out and then just decided to leave the speed paint recordings as they were. Apologies, you see the final result before the actual drawing, but it might be fun to watch my process after knowing how it'll turn out. I don't know. It is what it is. This is what we're stuck with now. Have fun. But yeah, I thought for this video I might talk a bit about myself and my own personal journey of discovery with, I guess, various aspects of my own identity. Because it's something I think a lot of us have to deal with as we, well, grow up, I suppose. I myself was always a bit confused growing up, because everyone would always be like, hey, look at this dude, isn't he hot? Blah blah blah, attraction, and I'd be like, wow, I guess? Because I'll be real with you, I couldn't tell, still can't. I don't do physical attraction really because I'm ace, but I didn't know about that for years because I didn't even know that was a possibility or a thing that people could be, because I grew up in a very, very tiny country town where we had like maybe one gay guy, maybe one lesbian girl, couple of kids said they were bi. That's sort of all I really knew about because that's all that was really around me. I unfortunately was a very sheltered child, so I didn't know about a lot of stuff until I got to university and had a lot more freedom. Speaking of university, that's how I found out what ACE is. Not through any classes or something sensible like that, but through fanfiction. I was reading Undertale fanfic, because of course I was, and my boy Papyrus Undertale in a fic was written as asexual, and I was like, wow, that's hitting really close to home. That sounds super familiar. Looked up the term and I was like, wow, that's me. So yeah, shout out to Papyrus Undertale for, I guess, allowing me to understand my own sexuality, just because I had no other point of reference, and the fanfic was the first place where I came across it. He is, of course, not always portrayed like that, but in this fic he was, and I was like, that sounds really familiar to how I feel about things. Wow, that's me. Yay. But yeah, I think that's honestly probably one of the funnier ways to figure out what your orientation is. but it's my personal journey, and that's what I'm talking about today. Some other questions I've had was I arrow? I wasn't really sure. For a while I didn't identify as it, and then had the realization that I was like, actually, anytime I've thought I've had a crush, I think I might have just wanted to be friends with that person really bad. So maybe I'm somewhere on the spectrum. I'm presently actually not too sure. It is a label that has helped me in the past though, and obviously no shade on people who ID as arrow. I'm just no longer sure if I actually am or not. Think I might be arrow spec, probably Demi or Grace, maybe Alterus, but I'm not really sure due to certain recent experiences. Namely, actually catching feelings for people and being like, oh no, what is this? Because as someone who hadn't really dealt with that before, they were really intense and really stressful, honestly. Almost would rather go back to not. That would be great. Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that, because you don't often get much of a choice in what you do or don't like. It's just how you're going, I guess. But yeah, had a bit of confusion over whether I'm arrow. At the moment, still puzzling through that one. I'm not sure right now. Need more experience. We'll see how I'm going probably in a few years. Other questions I've had about myself was someone brought up some sort of thing about forced heteronormativity, and I was like, shit, am I actually a lesbian? Because I was like, I do like women. Do I like men? Dunno. So for a bit I was like, yeah, maybe I'm lesbian. I don't think that's the case anymore. I do ID as sapphic. Girls are very cute sometimes. As far as I can tell with cuteness anyways, again, my experience with that is a bit skewed because of the whole actually being ace and not doing the whole physical attraction thing. But yeah, as much as I'm able to, I do like women at least. Recently got a crush on a man and was like, what the fuck is this? So I guess I'm actually bi. Sorry, lesbians, I still love you though. But again, changing labels is something I've done a fair bit throughout my experience, because sometimes you just find that at times some things fit, at other times they don't, and it is okay to be a little bit fluid with things. You're not always going to perfectly understand yourself, and sometimes certain experiences, or even just in the process of growing up, you'll change a little bit, and that's okay. So, some people will be one identity their whole lives, and that's also perfectly fine. Again, everyone is just very, very, very different. But yeah, had an oh shit I'm bi, cause yeah, crush on a man. I was like, oh no, okay, sure, I thought I was over this, but not, I guess. It happens, I guess. But yeah, other crises I've had in the middle of the night was one where I was like, actually, it was after the last time I did a Pride illustration series. I did Nautilus for that one, and actually took requests from people. I didn't for these ones because they were taking a long time, and I was like, I'm just going to do these 8 that are sort of like the main ones I think of. Might do more later, just not for this round. And someone asked me to do Demi Boy and Demi Girl, and I was like, wow, what's that? And then I looked it up, and I was like, wow, that's hitting a bit too close to home. So essentially, I had a mental crisis in the middle of the night and lost a little bit of gender. As I currently see it, I just sort of fit somewhat under the general umbrella of non-binary, because it's like, female isn't quite right, but it's not horribly wrong, so it's, yeah, I kind of just see my gender as having lost a little bit of it. We're just vibing, people don't use masculine terms for me, we're perfectly fine. But yeah, a all about this was basically just to say things change sometime, just go with the flow, do what makes you happy, and that's the most important thing, really. I think sometimes people can be a little bit strict on which box you fit in, and you have to stay to that one particular box. But I think generally, as long as you're not being a dick to different groups after you've moved through them, as long as they help you find comfort at any point in your life, it's totally fine to change a little bit. Because at the end of the day, none of us is straight. We're all doing our own slightly different, non-heteronormative thing, and we're all vibing as part of one big community, and I think that that is the most important thing at the end of the day. But yeah, I think as well, sometimes there's a bit of pressure with labels that you have to absolutely figure out exactly where you go to a T, and that's not the case. Again, we all grow and we have the potential to change. Gender can be fluid, sexuality can be fluid. It isn't for everyone, and it isn't always. It just heavily depends on the individual's experience, and we're all different people, so we all go through things a little bit differently. But yeah. Do what you want as long as it makes yourself happy and you're not hurting anyone else is generally my approach to it. Might have been a bit of a blasé look at all of this stuff, but it's just a bit of my personal experience. Well, I expect most other people probably do slightly different things, or perhaps completely different things. I hope it was also interesting to hear about someone else's perspective on everything. I'd like to hear about your stories as well, honestly, because it's always cool to see where other people have come from and to sort of, I guess, bond over similarities and sort of celebrate our differences, because, yeah, we are a very diverse group, the Alphabet Mafia. Everyone does things a little bit different, a little bit in their own way, and that is a genuinely beautiful thing. I hope you guys all have a wonderful rest of your whatever time it is for you now. I was gonna say evening because that's what it is for me at the moment, but you could watch this in the middle of the day for all I know. Who knows? But yeah, enjoy the rest of your day or night or whatever. I hope you had a good Pride Month, or you are having a good time in the future to come. See you next time.